So the fundamental definition of extroversion and introversion is how you gain energy, what you feel the most at home, whether it's you feel the most, you feel recharged and feel the most at home with the outside world of people and things, or is it you feel the most at home in the sanctum of your own mind and thoughts and alone activity? That is most basic definition, is how you gain your energy, how you prioritize your energy. Is it the outside world or inside your mind? So a good analogy that I like to use is, a swimming pool or the sea or the ocean. We have the shore and the water, and assume that if you are a very balanced person, you are a very good swimmer. But even if you are a very good swimmer, you are not a fish. You still need to rest. You can't be in the water all the time. And that is how it applies to extrovert and introvert. So as an introvert, the water is the outside world and the shore is your inner mind. No matter how much you enjoy the water, in the end you will have to recharge by going to the shore, which is your mind. And the opposite is for extroverts. That's how so extrovert will find the shore to be the outside world, and being inside the water can be fun sometimes, but after a prolonged period they get tired and stressed and they get very agitated for extroverts. And I think just now, I think it was one person have already mentioned about the neuroscience of extroversion and introversion. It's one of the few processes that have been proven recently by neuroscience, that the brain of extrovert and introvert are pretty different in a certain way. So extrovert have a shorter neural pathway to process information, and their information processing and their interactive and speaking part of the brain are quite close together, and they work in tandems. So it's like, talking and interacting with other people and other things will facilitate information processing. Introvert, on the other hand, the two parts are quite independent, so they can go on and process information for a much longer period of time without external stimuli. And so they have a longer pathway to process information, and hence it's easier for them to get overloaded with stimuli, because if there's too much information, then their brain have too much workload, and that's why they need time alone to comfortably process on the thing that they have perceived in the outside world. So they can even identify introvert and extrovert baby as young as 4 months old. They already can tell which one is extrovert and introvert by whether they will react to stimuli. So the introvert baby, if I remember correctly, they are more reactive. They are not as welcoming to noises and everything. While extrovert baby, they are more calm. And even though I think a lot of people have the misconception that introverts are the minority, but actually no. A lot of surveys have shown that it's about 50-50 between extrovert and introvert. I guess it's just introvert have the fear of being a minority because they don't speak up as much, and they feel misunderstood because they don't speak up. And I like to also think in a much bigger picture from a evolution, from a anthropology standpoint, of why do we have that share, and why do we have extrovert and introvert. I mean, what is, because that will later translate into your own personal strength and your own purpose in life. So there are two theories that I have came across, which I find quite convincing, of why there's a reason why some people prefer one over the other. One is energy conservation, because even if you observe in the animal kingdom, there are some animals that really prefer quality over quantity. They, like, the owl an owl. They like to hunt at night, and they are very selective in with their prey. They like to observe for a very long time before they decide to make the strike. Versus like maybe pigeons or some other birds where they really just walk all the time and they just pick whatever they can see. So how you prioritize your energy, and a strategy that is imprinted in our mind as part of evolution. The second theory is about human as a part of as a social creature. We have different strategy. Of course, we have to take care of ourselves as an individual or our family, but at the same time, we need to also to gain acceptance by the tribe, by the community, in order to survive. So there's this delicate balance between whether you want to prioritize your own needs and your own voice versus prioritize the need of the community, of other people. And again, I think after millions of years, that is imprinted in our mind. And so I think I already mentioned before that type and behavior are not the same thing. So extrovert, there's definitely some correlation, especially when you are young, but it's not right to assume that extrovert always have more friends or introvert are always shy, because I myself is an introvert and I have always have a lot of friends, and some of my extrovert friends, they might be very talkative and they might be very interactive, but they have very small social circle. So I think it has something to do with some other part of their brains, So the last thing in this section is, if you are not sure if you are introvert or extrovert, then there's some question that you need to ask. Especially I think just now, Sri is in the middle. So I think you have to ask whether, especially you have to look back when you are younger, or when you are very tired, when you just want to be yourself, when you are free from all the social or work responsibility, then what would you rather do? Then I'm sure when they are younger, when they're less developed, or when they are very tired, introvert would like to curl up with a book or just watch a movie or just stay alone. But extrovert will feel very boxed in and agitated if they don't get to talk to people or have something going on outside. And there's this very popular thing that I come across often is type envy. Again, I think just now you mentioned that you used to envy, or you prefer to be an extrovert because you get more things done. They seem to get more things done. While as an introvert, you tend to be left out, or you think too much. So it's a type envy, and when you have type envy, that translates to you work very hard to develop and overcompensate for your weaker, your opposite function. Like you are an introvert, you work very hard to become more than an extrovert, whether to please your parents or to be better in your social group. And then at 30 years old, and you ask yourself, am I an introvert, extrovert? You don't know, because you have type envy when you are younger and you work so hard. Or in my case, I have my thinking and feeling very close. So if I take the test, I might end up with being an INTP. But thanks to, because I look back at when I was younger, and I know that, okay, I'm actually a feeling person. And of course, to identify type envy, you can always listen to your own personal story or other people's story, and listen to the word should or better. Like, if I should speak up more, if I should appear more amicable, that kind of thing is showing that you are forcing yourself to be something you are not. Another way for you to, if you are not sure, so I have come up with a few criteria or a few checkbox where you can take a look. So it's related to social approval, quantity versus quality, and generalist versus specialist. So introvert, they are less usually less likely to be affected by social approval or standard or norms. And also they prefer quality over quantity, whether it's job, relationship, topic of interest they have that prefer over quantity. And as a result, they tend to be specialists in their field, while extroverts are more of generalists and have broader interest. And in terms of social approval, they are more going to what is socially approved, socially accepted, whether it's about values or is it about system. And I would say this one is more toward this table is more toward behaviors wise. Of course, I think there's a strong correlation from my own years of watching people and what I read. So I put into this table to further help you if you need to.